this video. This is from France 24 English. So apparently, so France, a lot of the UK and the EU in general have been very hesitant to actually sanction Israeli officials. And especially because obviously they fear American reprisal, right? They fear America. Donald Trump, everybody uses the dollar. He could, place sanctions on these countries for doing it. He could, I don't know, like increase tariffs like he did before. One sec. Sorry. I'll be right back. I just realized the lighting was a little off because I forgot to put on my turn on my lamp. But yeah, so like there is like a real fear, I think, from Europeans for doing this. But then also obviously they are fundamentally aligned with the goals, the ethnic cleansing goals of the nation state of Israel, because Israel is like a outpost for the West in order to destabilize and extract resources from a resource-rich region in the Middle East. The way that they do that is by constantly expanding as a settler colonial entity to try to take over more and more land, more and more territory, and destabilize these other blocks of power that would be able to fight back against America if they could coordinate to do so, right? So a lot of these countries in Europe who are fundamentally aligned with global capitalism are out there, they are fundamentally aligned with Israel. So that's another factor in why it takes so long for them to do anything about the atrocities that Israel is committing. But at this point, it's becoming so obvious, and the public in general is like hates Israel so much now that they feel like they have to do something, and that's good, right? It's not enough. It's not enough. I want to be absolutely clear about that. Not only like Israel sanctioning Smotritch, who is wanted as an international by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, is a easy first step. I think they've also potentially sanctioned some West Bank settlers, which is okay, another easy first step, but it needs to go a lot further. So let's go ahead and watch this video. We'll see, we'll try and get some context around this and maybe see what's going to happen in the future.
France this Tuesday has banned Israel's far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotritch from entering the country. This is part of a coordinated sanctions with...
And by the way, Bezalel, is that his name? Smotritch and Ben-Gvir are the two most unhinged, two most racist, terroristic, Zionist freaks in Israel. At least the two publicly facing public officials. They are two of the worst of the worst.
With other countries over settler violence against Palestinians. Smotritch becomes the second member of the Israeli government to be forbidden from entering France in recent months, after National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir was barred on May the 23rd.
Okay. Ben-Gvir, I thought I remembered that as well, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't want to say it.
For mocking activists detained by Israeli soldiers from a Gaza-bound flotilla carrying aid for the Palestinian territory.
You know what's crazy is they did that for him, obviously, humiliating and attacking foreign nationals or whatever, white people who went to on the flotilla, which I mean obviously it's a great thing that they did and they deserve all the credit in the world, but they sanctioned him because he insulted them, as opposed to the raping. They are doing systematic rape of Palestinians and also of some of these flotilla people who are thrown into their torture dungeons that they have in Israel, their concentration camp torture dungeons where they do whatever the fuck they want to Palestinians with impunity. You should have sanctioned them for that. That's what you should have sanctioned them for. But whatever, as long as they get sanctioned, I don't really care.
UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway already slapped a travel ban on both ministers in June last year over inciting violence against Palestinians. Other countries have also banned the ministers, including Spain, Slovenia and most recently Ireland. Let's get more on the situation in the Middle East and bring in from Jerusalem our correspondent there, Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, a very good evening to you. So Israel's
I hate this person.
Can no longer come and visit France. What's been the reaction where you are?
The reaction has been fairly muted just because of the avalanche of news here today. But I think we should remember that Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, who you both mentioned, have a long history on the very margins or beyond the margins of Israeli law. And in fact, both of them were defined as like the KKK by the former Mossad director Tamir Pardo. So,
Well, I got news for you, lady. They're like in the future, they are going to be the center of Israel. Israel is continually moving to the right forever because Zionism is a Nazi ideology. It is a fascist ideology that requires you to continuously ramp up your rhetoric and dehumanize the other until you end up at the end state, which is exactly what the Nazis did to Jews back then. And the current situation where these people are quote unquote on the fringes, are they really on the fringe if they are literally in high-ranking cabinet positions of the government? I don't think so. And also, they represent a huge section of your public. And like I said, they will be considered moderates to whatever future government comes in after this. That is the inherent nature of Zionism and fascism. So get prepared, lady. I hope you enjoy living in that Nazi hellscape you live over there.
It's not really surprising when Prime Minister Netanyahu returned to power in January of 2023. In fact, there was an expectation that several of his ministers would be defined as persona non grata in many countries. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen in the first few months of his government. And then
what a surprise.
October 7th, 2023 happened, and the perspective on Israel from foreign countries changed. And I think that the antics of these gentlemen and other of Netanyahu's extremist ministers became less pressing. But as time...
This is why I don't like this lady every time she comes on and talks, because she is incapable of recognizing that these people are representative of the Israeli public at large. Okay. They are. We can't pretend like they're not. They always like to try to cordon off these extremists that they call extremists as separate from the ethno-religious nationalist project of Israel. These people are core to the project of Zionism, and they represent huge swaths of the population, and their party is the one that's ascending right now. Like their segment are the ones that are ascending right now. And she just refuses to acknowledge, I think a lot of the time, she refuses to acknowledge that like that this is what Israel is. Like these people represent the identity of Israel and Zionism way more than this lady ever would if she is a quote unquote liberal Zionist or whatever she calls herself.
Time goes by, and as the war lingers on, countries are coming awake. And these two men and several other West Bank settler leaders, including very prominent leaders who are the beneficiaries of a lot of funds from abroad, in many cases of unknown origins, and another minister, Orit Struk, who is of Bezalel Smotrich's party. All of these people who have called for this displacement of all Palestinians from all Palestinian territories, who deny the existence of a Palestinian people. These are top officials with very extremist point of view. And I am surprised that it took this long, honestly, for them to be denied access to most.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually surprised that it's happening at all, to be honest, because this is all backed up by American empire and by American power. So when these countries, they have to be forced into doing this. It's not like these countries would ever do this. Like no country has like an inherent, or like at least none of these like Western countries have an inherent like desire to help human rights. They are forced into acknowledging, unless those human rights positions reinforce their power, right? Reinforce their hegemony. Then they will use them, right? They will use human rights situations in like whatever region in order to use that as an excuse to go like influence that region and increase their power or whatever. They will do that. But anytime the human rights go against their interests and against their power, they have to be forced into actually doing these types of things. And that's what's happening right now, is that they are feeling pressured, so much pressure from their public, that they have to do something. And this is just a release valve, by the way. This isn't justice. This isn't in any way, shape, or form what is required in order to achieve justice. These people, the people at the top for sure, need to be tried and punished in The Hague. They need to go to jail forever, or whatever punishment they deem fit in international criminal court. Anybody who has ever served in the IOF, the Israeli Occupation Forces, needs to be punished as well, and to a relatively severe degree as well. They also need to give reparations to all of the people that they've harmed, and they also obviously need to create a system that is not designed on the oppression of an entire group of people that doesn't reflect their identity, right? They need to open up Gaza. They need to either create a one-state solution where everybody has equal rights, or they need to create an actual two-state solution and expel all of their settlers, like pull them all back, all 500,000 from the West Bank. Like I said, this is still all just kind of like a first step to true justice for what the people of Palestine have been subjected to for this long. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if this goes anywhere. This is just a pressure release valve to try to show their public that they're doing something, but it's not enough, and it needs to go faster. The genocide is ongoing, both in Palestine and Lebanon. So anyway, let's move on